projects I'm redoing, like I remember last time I came, I said redoing my site, and
Yeah.
the time before that, and the time before that. Yeah.
Well, that's like, as they say, cobbler's children has no shoes, right?
Yeah, it's just, I'm juggling like, I don't know how many things right now. It's crazy. Not that it's making me any money, but it's like I'm still juggling, you know, a number of projects that, it's just the way it is.
Is it
Yeah.
projects or you just,
Like-
just say multitask?
Sometimes I have this is one thing I'm not good at from a business point of view. I tend to be too nice sometimes. So sometimes it's.
We're all too nice.
I'll just like, here, I'll just do it. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know even how to bill for this, but those things add up, you know?
Absolutely. Well, you know, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but the thing is, we're all selling, for the most part, we're all selling our time.
Yeah,
And
oh,
so
yeah.
anytime someone takes a piece of your time, you know, that's money that you're not billing somebody else for, you're not billing them,
Right.
you know, so sometimes, you know, I have to say, I have one client, I really appreciate him because he always insists that even though some of the things I do for him only takes a couple of minutes, but he insists that I send him a bill. So sometimes I send him a bill for $10 or $15. But I appreciate the, you know, because it's easy for us to go, oh, that's no big deal, I'll just take care of that for you. But you're right, and over the course of the year, let's say he does that 10, 12 times, well, that's $120 or $200 in the course of the year, you know. It's not gonna make or break your business, but, you know, do that times 10 people, and now you've lost $2,000, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, you know,
And if
so
you're
we
not-
all have to sort of
yeah.
be better at that.
And if you're not if you've made a mistake, if you have any IT knowledge at all, you gotta be careful that you tell people if you do IT work or not. Because you do IT work?
Yeah,
You know what happens.
Oh,
So the
well, then
moment
you
you
get
stay
pulled
it,
into
all of a
that.
sudden, everyone that you know knows you do IT work,
Yeah,
and it all, but I'm a designer developer, so I'm getting calls to do, like I was fixing an email problem. They wanted me to come out there, it's like, it's just the SMTP settings was wrong, so
Yeah.
you had to change.
Yeah.
I'm not driving 40 minutes to fix that.
Yeah.
I did it online, I just logged into the machine
Yeah,
from
yeah.
far, but that's not what I do.
Right. But we all wanna be helpful and
Right.
say, oh yeah, I can do that. So we all, you know, and that's the thing that I think this is good, because this is what our discussion could be about. This is a perfect group for that too. What's on my mind is that, you know, we all cross,
Yeah.
you know, we all
Yeah.
do
Yes.
a lot of the same things, and then we
Right.
all do,
We
you know,
might be
have our specialty.
Producing, and then we might be designing, and then we might be.
Yeah, you know, and part of that's a function of
True.
the fact that I'm looking around here and figuring, let's say everyone here is over 35.
Good.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
So, you know, we have a lot of life experience.
Right.
Yeah.
In addition to our business experience, and our whatever our business is at this point is a reflection of all the things that we've learned and everything
Oh, yeah.
that we know about. So, you know, you wanna keep your clients happy, they call and say, you know, can you do such and such? Yeah, it's not a problem, you know,
Yeah.
I can do that for you, you know, is it what I do? No, so the question then becomes, where and when do you draw the line?
And that's a good point, 'cause going back to Dave's point here, and one thing I was thinking about when you were talking about your friend, if you did 10 minutes or 5 minutes, you just maybe charge them $10. So is there a rule of thumb, or would there be a rule of thumb to say anything under a half an hour, anything under an hour would be this scale, anything over an hour would be that scale? Would that be a good way of start saying whether we don't get caught in the trap or?
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's up to you
Yeah.
to set your prices and decide where that is, you know what I mean? But yeah, so, you know, you might wanna start out just simply by saying, you know, I wanna get X amount of dollars an hour, whether that's $30 an hour, $75 an hour, $150 an hour, I wanna get X amount of dollars an hour.
Yeah.
And so if you take 10 minutes of my time, you know, you're gonna pay, you know, 15 minutes is easy, you're gonna take a quarter
Yeah.
of that amount, or the minimum I'm ever gonna charge anybody is a quarter of my, you know, of my hourly
of your
rate.
hourly
That's one popular way to do
Yeah,
it, you know.
and it's smart. I mean,
Yeah.
there, like always, there's a point where customer service and doing the right thing goes a long way. It really does.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and sometimes, you know, I had a partner I used to work with a while back, and he was on the other extreme. Every little thing was, you know, checked
Yeah.
off and,
Right.
and priced, and it's like, and, you know, the in-between was the answer.
Right,
But he went too far on one thing, and I was too lax on the other.
right.
So there is a balance that needs to be made, and I think I take it too far sometimes in the wrong direction, where I'm not charging enough. But it does help you get new clients, it does help them suggest you, you are a go-to guy, you know, and it does help. But there's sometimes, you're right, it adds up.
So that, going back to your point, and then I guess that what makes me think about it is, it might be a good thing if you, as you say, your ex-partner had a checklist.
Yeah.
So let's say client A called you 4 times that month, or 3 times that month, and you already gave him like 3 freebies. So you would say to him or her, your free time is running out,
Yeah.
or something of that
Well,
nature.
if you're,
You know,
yeah, if
or
you've
you-
put yourself, that's how to get out of the trick bag that we're all,
Yeah.
that's one way to extract
Right.
yourself from that,
Right.
is to say, yeah,
You
know.
got so much consultation
Yeah.
time,
Right,
Yeah.
right.
and I'm only gonna give you 15 minutes because I'm working on something else in your case,
Yeah.
or anybody's case.
Right.
I only got 15 minutes to talk.
But you know, the best way is, you know, when you send somebody a bill, they start to get the idea too. So like if you just, you know, if somebody takes your time and then you
Yeah.
say, okay, well, I'm gonna,
Well,
you know, I'm
have
gonna
to
bill
bill
you.
you.
You gotta tell them right away, like,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
they're asking you.
You don't wanna
they're saying,
surprise them.
Well, I've got
Right.
this, and then sometimes it's a good thing to say, look, let me just figure out how long this will take, can I get back to you and see if I need to charge you for it?
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of just saying, yeah, I'll do it, you know, you might wanna just.
I mean,
It might take, because everything takes longer than
Right.
you think.
The thing is, once you start, that, you know, there's some clients you have to slowly push them in a direction, so they start realizing, I'm gonna have to start billing for this, I've gotten really busy.
Yeah.
But they've
Mhm.
learned to expect that, hey, you know, Dave's always there to, to help me out.
Right.
You know, it only takes a few minutes, it should be fine, give him a call, you know, that's what I think is happening after a certain point, and
But-
you've grown that, there's an expectation that you're going to,
but see, that's the thing about it.
you gotta
When
cut it off early.
You gotta cut
Yeah,
it off
yeah,
somewhere.
yeah,
You
yeah.
gotta draw the line somewhere, Dave.
Yes, oh, yes, yes.
And my thinking is, what I always been told in this situation, easier to change a no to a yes than a yes to a no.
Well, that's correct, that's definitely correct.
So if if you get a call, and like you say, you're in the middle of a project, and somebody call you with a concern or issue, that might be one of the times to say, hey, I'm in the middle of something,
Yeah.
or can I call you back? That gives you enough time
Yeah.
to think about
Yeah.
Yes.
your no's and your yeses, or how much concern you are.
Yeah.
I mean, if you that nice a guy, then you just, you know, like they say, you just there for a pushover.
Yeah.
Let's take a second, just because this is a really good, lively conversation we're having. I feel like Irv Cup's in it. For Chicago for a
Lively
while.
art of conversation.
Lively art of conversation, but for the record, I'm gonna say to anybody who might watch this, that this is the Business Card to Business Networking Group. We're a meetup group that meets at the Roots Room near Foster and Kimball the last Tuesday of every month. And we're talking about general business today. And I think it's interesting that we all, like I said, overlap this group that's here today, so I think this is kind of fun. And this is a format I'm experimenting with, because I'm trying to wonder if this isn't a good way to deal with the fact that we often get a small group of 4 or 6, and this is what we end up doing. We end up here, and then we walk out and we go, damn, that was a really good move, meeting. We really learned a lot from each other, and then I think, why didn't we record that or save it, or
Yeah.
how can we share it? So that's what we're doing. So let's take a second just to introduce ourselves, because we've all sort of done that, but I just want to be sure everybody knows each other, and then for the record. So, Tommy, you want to start?
Yes, my name is Tommy Love. I run the Roots Room. By the way, welcome to the Roots Room. I work the audio. I set up video here myself, and this is what I do here at the Roots Room. Outside of here, I have a small sound company, and with that in mind, I'm trying to marry the idea of putting video and sound together so it can become like one package. So that's been kind of a hard thing as a one-man job to do, but I found it to work, especially with today's technology, and it's working for me. But that's who I am.
No.
I'm Dave Schneider. I'm a graphic and web designer. I do print and web site development, mostly front-end development. I work a lot with Drupal and WordPress, but I do, I guess, a little bit of everything. I do some video work, but not a whole lot. So, and I've been doing this for 15 to 20 years, it seems
Okay.
like now.
We probably all have done whatever we're doing.
Yeah, it's been a while.
For a
For a long
while.
time. Hi, my name's Rob Herman, and I started off in the game industry, so ICOM Simulations, and then Mindscape, and Viacom New Media was another one. And I went to school for sound engineering, and an opportunity arrived where I was able to become a sound producer, an audio producer for Viacom, and was able to build my own studio, and
Wow.
it was so great. But of course, they went under a couple of years later, and then the whole thing went to pot. So I started my own business doing multimedia production, and the biggest business that I've had is in the trade show space. So presentations, so it's an agency thing, through agencies, so that I've worked with Siemens and Intel and Baxter and HP and travel sometimes to the shows and do it. I'm just trying to get out there to expand, find some more power partners, that can get me into more agencies. So I brought PC with some samples, so
Oh, good.
maybe
Oh,
later
yeah,
we can
let's-
take a look at it.
Yeah, great. Actually, I want to see some samples.
Yes.
So,
Yes,
that's
yes.
great, yeah, so. And my name's Reno, Lovison, and I do primarily video production. My background has been in marketing for my whole career, and that's taken many different avenues over the years, and I was in the ad specialty business for a long time, and then, but I always did video as part of what I did, and it was always an integral part of my business, and I was always trying to take my marketing clients and try to convince them to do a video, or maybe they needed to do a video. And so about 10 years ago now, it's getting close to 10 years, I decided to change the front door and say now we're a video company that does some marketing as opposed to a marketing company that does some video, because video is really what I love to do and what I prefer to do. I was telling NISAR that I love to edit. Doesn't mean I don't like to shoot, but of the two things, I'm very happy I love to tell the story. And so this networking group was an outgrowth of a book I wrote called Turn Your Business Card into Business, and the idea was to try to do more networking, which is also something that I love to do. And this video production that we're doing right now, I'll remind you one more time that the cameras are on, is that for anybody watching this, this is, these are two static cameras that, we're just grabbing whatever
Oh,
it is we're doing, and yeah, and see if this might be a interesting way to share this information. One of the things I say to my clients is extend the experience. That's my little catchphrase. And what I mean by that is, too often, you do something extemporaneously, and then you wish you'd captured it, and you wish you could share it with somebody, and that's what video allows you to do, and, so we've all been there, and we all do that. So, and in fact, NISAR's also in video production and IT, so let's hear it.
Yeah, my name is NISAR, and I'm IT guru, and for the last 4 or 5 years, I'm running my own, company, and I do design website, I repair PC. So I'm running a big show, but I have a lot of groups in my, under umbrella. So if I go my own, I cannot handle my work, but I am engaging expertise in my group, so I can go and shoot other project easily and produce the qualitative work, which I am focusing. And this is the first meetup group I am attending, and I am extensively, impressed with all people, and they have really, good knowledge what they are doing, and hopefully I would share my knowledge and their knowledge, and we would extend our, projects, businesses, and hopefully we should have good relations.
Exactly. Well, and that's the spirit of the way I approach networking, is that if this is the first one that you've attended, you will see in the next 4 or 5 or 6 that you go to, that everyone, it's as different as visiting everyone's home, you know, you get a different experience,
Yeah,
you know? And this group, you know, has its own sort of atmosphere and the way that we do things. The group
We
you were
met
talking
at-
about
We
earlier.
met at another networking.
We
group.
did, we met at Bernie's group, yeah.
Yeah, Bernie's group, which is a
And,
real nice one too.
That's the afternoon group, which is one that you should attend sometime.
It's really great, yeah.
But in this group, I always take the position, some groups, for instance, they limit membership in the group to 1 person per category.
Right.
Because the idea is they're trying to build,
Yeah.
relate one-to-one
Right, cross-link,
relationships. I've owned networking to be a one-to-one relationship, kind of experience. I get very little business from the person I'm looking at, but what I do get is referrals, if somebody says, oh, you need to meet this person, you need to meet that person.
Yeah.
So in that way, I think even though we overlap a lot, I love this because sometimes if someone has expertise I don't
Yeah,
have.
yes, sir.
Now, as you said, now all of our teams are bigger because we have all these people to draw from. You know, you find out what Dave's strength is or what Rob's strength is, or I find out what your strength is, Tommy's. Well, Tommy's here because, not just because Roots, we shot a video today in the Roots room here. I do a musician's profile, and it's taking musicians and they talk about their music experience, why they do what they do, and then we interweave a little music into it. So we had a musician here. And whenever I do things like that, Tommy comes and does the sound because the sound is integral to what we're doing. And I'm a firm believer that I said this earlier, if you don't have good sound, you don't even have a production. You know
That's
what I
right.
mean? So, like right now, I'm less concerned with these 2 cameras than I am about whether we can hear
Yeah.
what we're
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I can put each of our individual pictures up. We can do anything to decorate the video part of it.
Right.
But if you don't have the conversation, then we don't have a story to tell. And so that's Tommy's job.
It's always the problem I've had with the video work that I've done. Recently, I've done a little bit with my friend, and he does video work, but he says the same thing, the sound.
The sound.
Yeah, even if you get a good shot in, you know, it's like he goes, the sound's off, I don't know what I'm gonna do, so we have to scrap, you know, we have to overlay the voices instead,
Right, yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
shoot it and do it separate, but then.
Right.
It
you-
creates so much post-production that
Oh, yeah.
you wish you just got it right to begin with, you know what I
And
mean?
sometimes
Which is-
it fits the mood better if it's, you know,
Yeah.
it's speaking separately over top of it, it's not as organic, it's not
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
as, you know, yes, some voiceovers are done really well, but,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
this is organic, this is conversation, this is,
Right.
and sometimes you lose that moment if you have to kind of go back and.
Oh, yeah,
know
you
how
can't,
do it,
it's
you know.
difficult to capture it once it's gone, you know?
Yeah.
And I try to cover my butt, that's another thing, you know, for you guys who shoot video on a regular basis. I mean, man, I don't go out without shooting audio at least on two
Right.
devices, if not
Absolutely.
3. So like in this case, you know, the audio's still running on that camera,
Camera,
there's
but-
audio running on this camera.
Yeah.
We got 2 mics here running into Tommy's board,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
So we have 3 audio sources, so
Yeah.
hopefully,
One of them was.
one of them's working, one of them is capturing what we want, you know, or capturing whoever's looking at it or whatever, you know. And that's how I tend to shoot when I go out, you know, and thank goodness for my wife, because I have a little field recorder, and once in a while,
Yeah, those are
I
great.
get lazy for some reason, and I
Mhm.
think, oh, it's a little shoot, I don't need it, and Julie will say, did you bring your Adderall, or do you have that
Right.
with you, you know?
Yeah,
And
those
I
are
said,
great.
you know, damn it, yeah, I better have that. And it has saved my production on more than one occasion, you know,
Yeah.
because just, you never know what's gonna happen. Somebody, you know,
That's
just,
right.
there's too many variables
Yeah, there might
in
be a
this
buzz in
business.
it or something.
Yeah, or just somebody kicks the camera, or somebody unplugs you, or you accidentally turned it off, and, you know, if you don't mind, I'll tell a quick story, a disaster story, if anyone else has a disaster. I'm always free to tell my disasters, but I was shooting a video just last year, and there was a dance sequence in the video, and I had 2 cameras, one on the musicians, one on the dancer, and I'm sure this has happened to any of us who shoot, is that, you know, I have my finger on the record button, and
Oh, yeah.
at some point, I don't know what was on my mind, but I turned the camera off. I think it was like the end of a sequence, I turned the camera off, and then I thought, oh, what do I do? or anyway, I looked and I saw my red button wasn't on it. I didn't know it was has the camera been off for like
Yeah, right.
10 minutes?
Right.
Or 10 seconds, I have no idea, you know.
Okay.
So I turn back in, so I come back to look later. Well, luckily I have a second camera and a different shot to go to.
Yeah.
Right.
So I go to the, you know, I get to the part, it was a dance sequence, but I shoot, I just go to the second camera, which is the musicians for,
Yeah.
you know, it turned out it was only like 10 seconds, you know.
But
And
still,
so,
it's-
well, but the funny thing is, you know, 99.9% of the time you'd be like totally okay with that, right? And the client just happened to like say, I really don't like that spotlight where you go to the musicians, you know?
Well-
And so now I had to fess up. It was sort of like, well, we have to go there because I don't have any video of anything else, you know, that's it. But the point is, you know, it was more of a, at that point, more of a aesthetic, you know.
Yeah.
Probably wasn't, you know, we didn't really miss anything big,
but that is when the client's gonna,
That's when
just
they're-
that brief second is when they're gonna
I know.
point out, so,
Yeah, you know,
I mean,
so-
it's that little bit, you
Yeah.
know?
but-
But we were talking about meetup groups.
Yeah.
And the different types, and especially this is your first one. And I found this one is more personal, more face-to-face discussions like this.
This particular group.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And in
We
the
tend to be
discussion.
small and intimate.
In the discussion roles and changes and flows, whereas some of the others are very focused, they're very, you know, they don't stray from topic very much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And and you don't get the same level of interaction that you might get in a smaller group.
Yeah.
Like the WordPress one I was at. I mean,
Yeah.
the presentations were fantastic.
Well, again, it's the Becky's WordPress group, which
Yeah.
she's a good friend of mine, so if she saw this, I don't mind talking
Yeah.
about her, she doesn't mind. But that's a great group, if
It is a
you,
good
anybody does work, now I'm there, and this is a good, also part of our discussion of how we overlap, right? So I don't go there because I am a WordPress producer, developer. I go there because a lot of people who do WordPress sometimes need video
Yep.
as part of their projects, so that's good. And then also, like we were talking about earlier, I have clients who say, well, I have a WordPress site and I want to get my video on and I don't know how to do it, and so I like
I
to be
see.
up to
Yeah.
speed with what's going on, so that in those so in those situations, I can say, okay, I'll put it up for you, give me your password, and I'll take care of it, you know, and I
Yeah.
feel confident doing that. So,
I'm not, a recruiter,
Yeah.
I don't recruit,
yeah.
but psychologically, I'm a recruiter. I see your value in my group,
Yeah.
I see your value in my group, I see your value, I see your value. So wherever the projects are there, I like to be engaged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about that for a second, because
That's a
you're
good
probably the smartest one in this group, because everything you said many times about sort of delegating responsibilities, where the rest of us, I think.
Kind of just beat our head against the
No,
wall.
I all Adobe, all IT work,
Yeah.
networking. I love to, fix computer networking. But I think I am done from that stage.
Yeah,
I'm done from it because if I stick on your computer for 1 hour,
That's right.
that 1 hour I really want to engage in my marketing.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're right. Now, let's spin that conversation
use-
that way,
best
because
use
you're
of your
exactly
time.
right.
And
That's the better use of your time.
I
is to
never
be-
came to meet a group. I see all the time online and never have a chance. So I changed my one project completely. I'm on the road and I just want to do marketing.
Yeah. I think that's a good, so we're talking about business in general, let's talk about that for a second, because I think that's what we're probably,
Mhm.
the rest of us dropped the ball. I started out by saying,
yeah.
marketing has been what I'm all about my whole life, except that I still get drawn into the projects. I want to be involved in the project, And so unfortunately, like a lot of business people, we tend to go out, get a project, come back, do the project, go out, get another project, come back. And that's not very efficient, it's not an efficient way to do
It takes
business. And so what you're saying, really better to spend your time getting that work done and keep bringing in work. So, because it's hard to do it simultaneously, even though I tell people all the time that, businesses peaks and valleys, and if you want to keep it straighter, you have to be marketing all the time.
Yeah. Oh,
But
yeah.
if you're deep into a project, your
You don't have
marketing time gets sacrificed, and then you wonder why at the end of that project, you're sitting there going, oh, I don't have any business.
So with that in mind, and one thing I think about is the 80-20 rule. So if you spending 80% of your time, in his case, on the marketing, and he's had delegated the other little 20% of things that he already figured that he don't need to do. Whereas a business person decide to say, okay, now's the time, going back to your particular, now's the time, I'm on a project, but I can't take any more phone calls.
Yeah.
So do I send all my phone calls to voicemail, and then hopefully I get with them later? Or do I get a real person to say, he's not in, how can I help you?
That's the question, yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the question. I mean, I know, you know, I think we do all of those things, right? But I mean, we probably don't do enough of that, what NISAR is suggesting, which is that you have to delegate, you know, you can't drop any of those balls, so, you know, you probably should have a person at least who's, you know, if you're not doing the marketing yourself, then you should have somebody there who can keep that ball in the air and say, you know, take in the information, what are your needs, what do we get done, blah, 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 you know, so.
Very interesting topic, you know, if you, and that's, you know, God gifted thing, you know. It's not in your control. You learn, absolutely, but there are something you really like by heart.
Mhm.
And I love, you know, videos and this and that, you know, and, you know, Indian weddings, it was big business, you know. And I see there are so many things, you know, coming to me, you know, I never did DJ, you know, but somebody asked Nisar, I
Oh,
need
right,
DJ, can you
right,
help me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Right, right.
I say, man, this, somebody say, Nisar, I
Right.
need limo.
There you go,
So I engaged 2-3 teams in my group.
there you go.
Good
Yep.
for
So
you.
if I need limo, they can help me. I signed
Exactly.
up some contract
Do the
with
whole
them.
Yeah,
package.
Yep.
that's the way to do it.
I mean,
Take a
Why not?
referral fee or a
Why
small
not?
percentage,
Right.
and you
Right.
move the work to the proper party, and you
Yeah.
manage the.
Yeah.
Always happy to pay referral fees.
And there's that delegation that needs to be made. You need to learn when to pass that on to someone else.
Yeah.
And that's, again, why this kind of interaction, you're finding people that you can. You don't have to say no to a potential client that's looking for you for help if you have the right
Yeah, I
source.
mean,
to
that,
put the
I mean,
job on.
that's,
Right.
So then remember, you help them, they'll come back to you again.
Yeah.
Oh, it does.
That's the thing that people don't appreciate, and I, you know, any of us who do video, you run through that, everyone has a camera. Everyone
Yeah.
has a camera in their pocket, where,
Yeah.
you know, right here, we
Phone.
got 5 phones, everyone's got a
Right.
camera.
Right.
Everyone's got a nephew, or a son, or a daughter, or somebody who loves to do
That's right.
video, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And it's fine, so, you know, my position today is twofold. One is, yeah, first of all, go do that, because I love to edit. So, you know, if you've got video, send me your video over, and I'll see what I can make out of it, you know what I mean? Because a lot of times, it's just not good enough out of, the raw video just isn't exactly what the client is
No.
looking for.
I think and this is something you see all the time, if your image or your brand or who you are, you're being represented by this.
Right.
And
Well-
if it looks like crap and
Yeah.
it sounds like crap,
Yeah, yeah.
And then I give people tips. I show them just exactly how to do it so that we get a nice image, you know what I mean? Keep the camera still, be sure
Yeah.
there's some decent lighting, and, you know, and be sure the sound is good, and we're ready to go. We can do something with it, you know? So today it's a mix, though. You have to be prepared to deal with whatever people give you, and you have to
Yeah.
help them, and then we shoot video when that's what the job calls for. Our experience, you know, being a more mature group, is that you bring a lot of your life experience, and there's a lot of little tricks that you've learned
Oh, yeah.
over the years that you say, you know what, I could use, man, I haven't done that in 20 years, but this is the time to do that, you know what I mean? It's like,
You're saying, I constantly, when I'm working with clients, I'll say, if you're going to do a video, you should professionally shoot this. You know, bite the bullet, step up, and do it. You know, I have sources that can help you, or photography too. I said, the upfront cost seems pretty steep at first, but in the long run,
Yeah,
this
exactly.
will even out.
Oh, yeah.
You'll use this many different times. If there's enough video shot, you can use it for many different ways and reformat in different ways to use it, many different sources, and you'll be happy. Just like photography, you'll use these photos for a good 10 years.
Antonio, for me, it's something I'm trying to tell clients all the time, is that, you know, we'll do a video shoot for an hour, 2 hours, or 3 hours, whatever it is, but I said, we're gonna get a bunch of videos out of this.
Yep.
Let's not just shoot for one video, even if you don't wanna edit them all right now, or, you know, but let's shoot, you know, if I'm gonna go to your business,